All right, so here's the thing. We live in a culture that is teaching us to continuously cut people off, to continuously and unrealistically cut people off. You get what I'm saying? We live in a culture to where if someone disagrees with you, you cut them off. We live in a culture where if someone doesn't look like you cut them off. We live in a culture that tells us when you think you're in a mindset or in a space that someone else is not there yet, you go ahead and you just cut them off. We live in a dumbass cut them off culture. Is that the kind of culture we want to cultivate, right? Because it seems like to me it could be a life of loneliness. Now, changing circles is not necessarily cutting people off. So I'm not talking about just changing circles when you are indeed elevating, right? And people that you have once associated with can't right now see the vision for your life. But does that mean you're cutting this person off? No, that's not what that means. All that means is you need to continue. Doesn't have to be every day, doesn't have to be every second, doesn't mean you need to spend your whole life, or not necessarily your whole life, but the majority of your time trying to bring this person along. But you need to be continuously reaching out in hopes that this person can see the vision that you're seeing, right? Doesn't mean you just cut them off. What happened to forgiveness? What happened to patience? What happened to understanding? What happened to meeting the person where they are, right? Now, if you are pouring into a person and they just outright tell you, "Hey, I don't believe, I don't want it, whatever you're doing, I don't need it, I don't want it, get away from me with that." Okay, by all means, go about your life. But what you're doing and the vision you have for your life should be manifesting. Just because you have a thought that this is where I want to be and there's nothing manifesting does not mean you should start cutting people off and trying to reach there on your own, right? When the actions that's behind your thoughts are not there. You feel what I'm saying? Now you're cutting people off and you're trying to, navigate the way to where you want to be alone, without help, without support. But you've just cut everyone off because you're thinking of things. But your actions and your the manifestation of these things are not following. You have nothing written down. You haven't done anything, right? And so that's when the unrealistic part of cutting people off comes into play at, right? So here's a very basic principle in life. It's a biblical principle as well. Where there is no vision, people die, right? But that vision has to be explained. That vision has to be followed through. You have to follow through with the vision that you're trying to implement. You feel what I'm saying? And when people hear things that you want to do, but they don't see the action, those are just dreams. It's not a vision, right? And you're cutting people off based on a dream, right? You're cutting people off based on a thought that has no actions behind it. And because you believe that you've elevated to another status, you're cutting people off that can possibly support you. You're cutting people off that could possibly be 100% behind you, but you're failing to properly communicate your vision and follow through on. You feel what I'm saying? So unrealistically, cutting folks off is one of the stupidest notions, and we're living in that culture. A lot of us are out here just cutting people off because they have a difference of opinion, and you see that as an enemy. You see that person as not wanting to support you, when the real reason behind it is because they probably just have genuine questions. You haven't won them over yet because there is no action behind what you're saying. You feel what I'm saying? When a lot of times when people see the action and understand the vision properly, then they'll follow. But you've cut off. You've destroyed a relationship because of a thought that you've had. You feel what I'm saying? Now, like I said, there is a difference when you're absolutely working and you're just changing circles as you elevate, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're cutting people off, right? You're just changing circles, elevating, trying to get to this space where you can be at, and you deserve to be at, because you're putting in the work to get there. You feel what I'm saying? And people may not be willing or wanting, or they may not have the mindset to follow as of yet, but they're watching, right? And the best thing you can do is give advice. This is what I did. This is what I did. This is how I got to where I am. This is what I'm doing, right? Follow my footsteps. If they don't want to come, they don't want to come. It's cool. No problem. But we should not be prematurely cutting people off just because they're not as of yet on, they differ from you. They don't see things the way you do as of yet, right? And one reason for that is because there's no action behind what you're saying. You feel what I'm saying? So before you cut people off, let's check ourselves and let's see if we're really we're really acting on and believing. Do we really believe what we're saying and what we're talking? And if we do, is there an action behind it, right? Are we really acting upon our dreams to make them visions? You feel what I'm saying? So anyway, y'all holla.